Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Crew First Culture podcast. This is Jeremy. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today, especially today, because talk about some things that are pretty important, pretty deep, pretty personal, I guess. I think it's kind of come to my attention that I probably need to head a little bit more in that direction, not just kind of the surface stuff that I enjoy talking about, but some of the things that some of the lessons I've learned, some of the things that I've lived through and mistakes and all that I have learned from. And so, I think I'll give credit for sure to Taylor with the couplings podcast. She had me on there and asked me to talk about some family stuff that I've never really gotten into. And I think there's a lot of people that need to hear more than just kind of the surface stuff that it's great. I enjoy talking about it, talking about leadership things and ways to get better and all that, but to truly dig into my story and the situations that I've had to deal with and the things that I've had to grow and all that, I think that has a lot more value to it. So definitely going to try to dig in a little bit more in that area coming up. So that is the case for those of you looking on YouTube. I've got my support system behind me here, but so today, like I said, it's going to be a pretty important one for me because it's real life, it's real talk, it's what I'm dealing with right now, what I'm struggling through right now. And so I hope that everybody has time to sit and listen to it, to really hear what I have to say, because I know there's a lot of people out there that need to hear it. A lot of people out there that are dealing with the same type of thing or similar situations that need to know you're not alone. And so I want to get right into it so we don't run anybody off. And as you already know by clicking on the episode, the title is Leadership Isn't for the Weak. And so kind of just starting out, what does that even mean? What am I trying to say there? I feel like it could be taken several different ways and maybe even in some negative ways, like, oh, this guy thinks that he's a pretty strong guy. Apparently he's saying that if you're weak, you don't need to be doing anything with leadership. Well, it's actually the exact opposite of kind of my intentions with this title. This title is basically describing who I am right now, and it is the opposite end of that. I question myself more and more every day. It seems like that I really have any business being in any type of leadership role at home or at work. I I continue to struggle with certain things that I'm just not able to grow through at this point. I'm not able to push myself to grow through. And so it's caused me a lot of growing pains, a lot of issues. I've made life and life situations so much harder on myself at home and at work because I've refused to put in the actual work to make these changes and to grow in the ways that I need to grow. And so that being the case, you know, this is where I'm at. And so I have got to figure out a way to get from where I'm at to where I know I need to be. And that's the journey I'm on right now. And that's what we're going to talk about. So Jocko, he's got some great videos, some great sound bites. If you know of him, hopefully you do. You know that's the truth. And man, some of them really hit me pretty good. I like to listen to them several times to really kind of let it impact me. One of his clips, he talks about the excuses we tell ourselves for various reasons, and these excuses, they're all lies. They're all lies that we tell ourselves to justify what we want, what we feel like we need, what we feel like we have to have. They're all lies that we make up to help ourselves feel better about not doing the right thing, basically. And that's where I am at. That's where I have been. I have allowed lies to justify my actions and my inactions, and you know the things that need to be done in my life. I've allowed myself to justify, well, you're working, you're trying, you're doing better. You know, I yes, those are good things. It's if that's actually true, if you're not lying to yourself, if those are true, that's good, yes. But are you getting better because you're putting everything into it? Are you making changes even if they're slow and even if they're little? Are you making those changes because you are investing everything you have into it? Or are they small changes and slow progress because you're not really investing everything? You're just investing enough to say you're investing. You're just changing enough to show people that you're changing so people won't ride you and wear you out about making the changes you need to. That's the problem I have caused myself because no, I cannot honestly say that in the area that we're talking about, that I have truly invested everything I have into making the change. And like I said, it has come back to bite me over and over and over again. So really to dig into it, to get into what I'm talking about, my personality, I have a conflict avoidance personality. I hate personality or I hate conflict. I've always hated conflict. I've always avoided conflict. I knew way, way before I had any kind of formal leadership role that this particular part of my personality is going to cause me some of the biggest problems if I ever take a role formally in that leadership role. And that was absolutely the truth. I know myself, and I know that that was going to be an issue, and it is, and it has been, because I have avoided conflict. I have avoided the hard conversations. I have just done enough, just done enough to make it look like I'm doing something. And that's not true leadership. That's not taking the responsibilities that I have and completely taking them as my own, putting myself completely into this so that I do have those conversations. I do deal with situations head on instead of just kind of glancing off of them, dealing with just as much as I have to, but not all of it. And those are the lies I've told myself. And it's very interesting because I like to talk about home and I like to talk about work and the two how they go together and leadership in both places. Well, that's exactly what I'm living through right now. And I'm sorry for those of you that are, if you're watching on YouTube, my laptop's in my lap and I'm really trying to keep it steady, but it's hard because I like to move apparently. But that that fight within that I have to to want to do better, to handle issues, to take that true leadership responsibility and deal with what I have to deal with is a fight every single time I have to do something like that. Every time I'm faced with a decision that is in that area, it eats me up inside. And it is like a battle within myself, almost like a mental. I don't know, a mental disorder that I have to fight through every time something like this comes up. And like I was kind of leaning towards, my life right now is intersecting in this area. My leadership role at home, my leadership role at work are both coming at a crossroads right now in this area. I'm struggling with stuff at work because of this. I'm struggling at stuff at home because of this. And that's kind of a unique thing for me. I'm constantly going through things and fighting things and dealing with things that are challenging me. But I've, it's very rare that home and work are really at a heightened state of challenge, and they're both at that heightened state because of the same thing in the same area. But that's what I'm doing, and now that's what I'm dealing with. And in a way, it's a good thing, I think, because it's truly showing me how important this is. So at work, I've fought and fought and fought for a culture that I truly believe in, a vision that I truly believe in. And I've always wanted to achieve that culture to the point where it it just happens. I fight for it because I believe in it so much. I love it so much. And I knew that this whole time, but I never really knew what it meant to truly feel that way, because I would constantly let negativity and laziness and bad attitudes and whatever, all of these little things I've let eat away at the progress that we've made as a crew. We would gain some ground in the that area of culture, and things would be getting better, and then something would happen. We would have some negativity just consume us, and instead of standing up and facing that head on and defeating it right at the beginning so that it has no way to plant roots, I almost ignore it, or I just kind of peck at it a little bit, enough to show that I don't want this here. But I don't I didn't really ever do enough to have any believability what I was saying. I never backed anything up. I kept allowing all these little things to eat away at the progress that we were making as we were trying to fight to make that progress. And so, flipping it around to home, you know, those of you that have heard me talk about family, we've got a very large family, blended family. And if you don't know how being a part of a blended family is, I will say right now it is very difficult. It is truly one of the most challenging things I have ever been a part of, to try to try to make work well, to try to be fair, to try to it's just everything is difficult because of that blendedness. But it's a great thing too. It's an amazing thing if you can make it work and take advantage of the possibilities and the positive aspects of it. It's an amazing thing. For me, I have not. I I have failed more at this blended family, this stepdad role. I have failed more in those areas than probably anything in my entire life. Over and over and over again, I didn't do what I should have done. I was not the person I should have been. I was not the stepdad that I should have been, the dad I should have been, the husband I should have been, over and over and over again. And why is that? Because of this same stuff. because I hate conflict, because I avoid awkward situations. And that has put me in a spot that I look back now and have a lot of repairing to do, a lot of building to do, a lot of rebuilding to do with my kids because I didn't do what I should have done. I wasn't who I should have been. And so it's left me in a place that I have to make up. I have to make up for it. I've got to apologize for what I've done. I've got to stop where I'm at, stop the slide, and change things right now so that it doesn't continue to get worse. You know, when you have that blended family, you want to be fair with kids. You know, you've got your kids, they've got their kids. Sometimes you've got your kids together, and hopefully you don't look at it like that. We've done a pretty good job of not really ever talking like that. It's just our kids, and that's great. But as much as you talk about it, as much as you focus on it, it's still there's still those ties that you can't get away from. And so for me, it's been very hard to overlook some of the things that make me, I don't know, make me want to be softer in some areas than others for some kids. You know, some of these kids have been through a lot of trauma, just stuff that I wish that they would never have had to go through, but they did. That makes me more lenient on things that I shouldn't be lenient because I feel bad. I want things to be better for them. I want to believe that if I just talk with them, they'll figure it out and they'll straighten it out and we'll be all better. But over and over again, that has failed. And over and over again, my wife has been frustrated beyond all description because that's all I've wanted to do is talk it out. And I totally understand now. I totally understand why somebody would be frustrated with that because it doesn't work. If I am not backing up my actions, excuse me, backing up my talking with actions, then nobody is going to believe what I say. Nobody is going to put any, anything into the repercussions or the consequences that not following the rules and the expectations will bring. Nobody will believe me. Nobody truly accepts that I will hold anybody accountable because I haven't ever done it. Rightfully so, they don't believe I will hold them accountable. And so I have found myself in the middle of a perfect storm right now because I have made this bed for years. And I know now, I've known for a while it needed to change, but I know now that it's going to change. It has to change. And I have to do it right now. This is a battle that I've really been engulfed in for about a year now. Not to the point where, like I just said, that I know it's time to do it and it is time to do it and I know I can do it. A lot of that time period I've still kind of been floating around and drifting and wanting to do better but never committed to the point I am right now. But past 2 months have been the point where I've really made that mental change of this is where it stops. This is the point where things will be different. And it is very easy to say that these last couple months have been very difficult for me, very, very challenging for me. The past 2 weeks have far surpassed even that and the level of challenge and just total gut wrenching choices I am having to make right now. So when I say that and I say this, I truly, truly mean it. I am empty right now. I truly feel empty emotionally. I truly feel empty mentally because this fight has taken everything from me. Right now it's a Monday. I'm recording this, actually trying to record it for the third time. I sat down on Friday and recorded basically this message twice. Neither one of them worked, which was heartbreaking because it's a very personal message. It's something I really poured myself into, and for it to just kind of not work two times in one day, it it really took it out of me. And so I had to kind of work myself back into it over Saturday and Sunday because I knew I wanted to get it out. But Friday, when I came home from work, that emptiness, man, it hit hard. My kids are now home on Fridays from school. This They usually towards the end of the year they stop going on Fridays, so they were home, which is absolutely what I was not needing. I needed just some alone time. I needed to just go outside and work and just kind of reboot a little, refill a little. But I didn't get that. And so by Friday night, man, I was fried, like absolutely empty. I feel like, we had a little bit of time with my wife, talked through some things and over the weekend. And so I feel better now. But it's truly a struggle for me that I am going through this. But I will say this one thing that is not empty and that I keep feeling and I keep feeling is a fire inside. That fire inside is burning hot. And what is burning for? It is burning for growth. I know that this is a situation and an area that I have got to go through. I've got to grow through. And I know how important that is. And so that fire is pushing me to continue. That fire is burning because I know not only do I need it, but I know there are many, many people out there that also need it as well. So I've got to grow. I've got to get through this. I've got to make it to the other side of this to not only get myself where I need to be, but also help others in the future with things like this. You know, I keep bringing up the word challenge, but that is truly something that, I mean, that's what it feels like. It is something that is truly overwhelming at times, especially lately. But I think that tells you how important something is. If you see some changes that you want to make in your life and they're not that big of a deal, it's something that, just change a few habits here and there, and a couple days later you're in good shape, or a couple weeks later you're in good shape. That I don't really think that's that big of a situation. Yeah, okay, yeah, I'm not saying that it's not important to make that change. But what I am saying is that the harder it is for you, the more overwhelming that obstacle looks for you, the more energy and emotion and just mental everything that it takes from you to accomplish and fight this, the more important it is for you to keep going, the more important it is for you to make it to the other side, because that shows you that this is something that critically needs to change. Otherwise, it would be easy. Everybody would do it. If if the biggest changes that we need to make were easy, then everybody would be making changes. If it was easy to change your diet so that you could live a healthier life, If that was easy, then everybody would be doing it. Everybody would be sticking to diets. Everybody would be losing the weight that they want to, getting in better shape like they want to. But it's not, because those are important things. And anything that's important, anything that is truly worth fighting for, is going to require every ounce of what you have. And that's what I'm talking about. So just looking over, I tried to write some notes this time because the other times I didn't, and I just wanted to make sure I hit, a lot of the things that I was thinking about. So, when these changes are needed to be made, these big changes, these things that are critical, it is going to take everything you have, like I said, and you are going to be tested over and over and over again. Because they are so hard, like I said, that they're important. So they're worth fighting for. And that it is worth your commitment. It is worth staying in the fight, because on the other side of it, we're going to reap rewards that are so great and that we so deserve if we stay in the fight and win. There's going to be there's going to be things beating us down. There's going to be people beating us down. There's going to be cravings beating us down. There's going to be fears beating us down. We have to make the positive voices, the positive influences, the positive, just the positivity in our life. We've got to make it louder than the negativity. Anything that we feel is pushing us away from our goal, we've got to fight it away. Keep it away from our progress so that we can continue on that path that we want to be on. I in that kind of this mindset and what I'm talking about right here, been listening to some, it's just interesting, the different mental kind of stages I go through determines what I listen to. Like I've talked about a lot, when I'm going back and forth commuting to work, the hour and a half, hour and 40 minutes, most of the time I spend doing listening to podcasts, listening to audiobooks, things like that, that I can truly grow from and hopefully gain some knowledge and experience and things like that. Sometimes my mind is everywhere and I can't focus on those things. So I'll listen to music on those rides. But when I'm at home, when I'm doing things, working, whatever, I can't focus on the podcast. I can't focus on books. And so it's just music. And so, like I said, whatever mental state I'm in really determines what I want to listen to. It could be 90s rap, it could be alternative from the 90s, it could be, basically hip hop 2000s, country from the 90s, or early 2000s, just everything. Blues, lots of things. But I've got this playlist, and the title of it is Deep Thought. And it's basically just music, songs from all kinds of stuff that really kind of, when they're playing, they just kind of take me away. And it's been accumulating over time, because over time, as I hear a song that really kind of hits me that way, I'll stick it in there. And when I get into this kind of state, this mental place, that's the music I listen to. And it really kind of grounds me. It really helps me to release a lot of stuff inside and work through some things. And that's where I've been lately. And so one of those songs I have is You Say by Lauren Daigle. And obviously I'm not going to sing it, but I am going to read the words of the first verse here, because I think it is great. It's a great picture of exactly what I'm talking about right now. And so here it is. I keep fighting the voices in my mind that say I'm not enough. Every single lie that tells me I will never measure up. Am I more than just a sum of every high and every low? Remind me once again just who I am because I need to know. You say I'm loved when I can't feel a thing. You say I'm strong when I can't think. Excuse me. You say I'm strong when I think I am weak. You say I am held when I am falling short. And when I don't belong, you say I am yours. And I believe. I believe what you say to me. I believe. So I think that's great. I think that's a great way to kind of plug in that emotional fight into this or whatever struggle you're facing. Because like I said, you're going to hit challenges, you're going to hit walls, obstacles, haters, self-doubt, fear. But that's not why we're here. We're not here to be scared. We're not here to be beaten down by haters. We're not here to be crippled by fear. We're here to become the people that we were put on this earth to be. And that means we are going to defeat these things that are put in front of us. For me, my personal struggles with this is fear. I would say fear and self-doubt are my obstacles that I have not been able to overcome in this area. Fear of not being strong enough to have those hard conversations. Fear of, you know, being a more strict parent than I should be. Fear of hurting my kids mentally more than they already hurt. These are all things that are going through my mind. Not that they're true in any way, but these are the things that I fight. At work, it's the fear of having the hard conversations to tell a negative person to shut up. That's not how we run this station. Fear of having to step up and say, quit being lazy. That's not how this crew is. We stay together. We pull our weight when it is time to pull our weight, and no matter what situation we are faced with. And if you're not willing to do that, you need to go somewhere else. Those are the fights, the struggles, the challenges that I have failed to overcome in this area. I have not been strong enough to do what I should be doing to break down and tear away those fears so that I can gain growth and truly lead in a way at home and at work that I should be. Truly fight for what I know I want to create and what is best for my family and for my teammates. To truly fight for it in every way that I need to fight for it, because that's what needs to happen. I've not done that because I have been afraid, but I'm done with being afraid. You know, Thursday I was on shift and we had a pretty serious incident happen. And it goes right along with what we're talking about. I'm not going to get into details, but I lost my control of my tongue. I lost my patience. I lost my temper with somebody. But I'll say this. In some ways, am I sorry that it happened? Maybe some ways. I probably could have handled it more professionally. I was truly hoping to have the same conversation as a one-on-one conversation later in the day. But some things were said that just absolutely tripped me off and I couldn't hold it inside. And so, yeah, I could have handled it better probably. But at the same time, For many other reasons, I am not sorry for having that conversation. I'm not sorry for dealing with it in the intense way that I dealt with it in front of everybody, because I felt like it showed people that I am here to fight. I'm here to fight for my culture. I'm here to fight for my vision. And I'm here to fight for anybody that's with me trying to push those things, trying to get us in a better place. If you are on that mission with me, if you're on that path with me, you now know that I will fight for you, because I did, and I will continue to fight for you. I talked about earlier that this is kind of something that I've always wanted, but I didn't truly know what it meant to be there completely. I do now. I absolutely know what it takes to feel like I have something to protect. I have something to fight for. That conversation showed me that I can do this. It showed me that I am strong enough to stand my ground and speak up when it needs to be time to speak up. I know I said that completely wrong. I now know that I can do it. And so I'm so thankful for that. I haven't been back to work since then. I'll go back tomorrow, so we'll see what I'm going back to. But that not only showed me that I can do that at work, but it showed me that I can do it, period. So I can do it at home. I can make the hard decisions at home too. I can fight for things I want and need and know that my family needs too. It's possible. I don't have to doubt myself as much. I don't have to be as fearful as I have been. I don't care anymore. I don't care if one of my kids is mad at me because I hold them to the rules that are very clear. I don't. I hope with everything in me that they follow the rules. I hope that with everything in me that they see that there's always a reason for these rules. It's not just because we like to throw our power around as parents. These rules are in place for various reasons, and almost all of them are to help them be guided in a way that one day they will grow up to be positive, productive, happy adults. That's it. Yeah, I'm sure they can't see that right now because they're kids. Even though I try over and over and over again to tell them that's why these things are there, they won't see it. I just I shouldn't keep believing or hoping that they'll see it. It'll be years down the road, hopefully, then they will see it. I don't know even then. You know, I I, I don't know who will hear this. I don't know if one of them will hear this. I honestly, I hope they do. I hope they hear it, because they will hear me talking to all of you out there the same way that I talk to them all the time. But with the addition of me now becoming the person that is here to back it up. This is the message I have always talked about. This is the message I've always shared with my teammates at work and with my people and my family at home. But I have never been the person to back it up until now. But I know that I have to be that person now. I hope that they will hear it, because I want them to see that I am not perfect. I struggle through things all the time. I handle things wrong all the time. I make mistakes constantly and fail constantly. But what I hope they truly see, my family, my teammates, the people I lead at work, the people that hear me speak and everything. I hope that they truly look past my mistakes and my failures and they see that at the root of it is me deeply and completely loving and caring for them. That is at the heart of all of this. When I have made mistakes, there has been something tied to it that made me more emotional, maybe that caused me to make a mistake, or just inexperience that caused me to make a mistake, or tried something and it just failed. But tear all of that away. And when it really comes down to it, what is at the heart of everything I do is how much I truly, deeply, and completely love and care for my family, love and care for my team, love and care for my friends. That is what I want them to hear. And I hope so much that someday down the road, they will see what I have been through for them. They will see what my wife and I have been through for them. And they will come to understand that everything that we went through, everything that we tried to show and teach them and hold them accountable for was for a reason. And it was because we truly wanted them to grow up to be happy, productive, positive, healthy adults. That's it. And that's the same at work. I want so badly to create better firefighters, better men and women, better spouses, better parents. And I know that we're on a good path for that, but it's going to take me to be more involved. It's going to take me standing up, putting my foot down, drawing the line in the sand, whatever analogy you want to put in there. Me making the changes I have to make, no matter how scary they are. Sometimes leading by example is not enough. That has been my downfall, I think, more than anything. I feel like mentally, that is one of my justifications. I try my best to lead by example everywhere I'm at, but that's not enough. You've got to back your words up as well. You've got to back rules up as well. You've got to hold people accountable as well. Leading by example is awesome. It's amazing. It is very, very important. And I am not taking away from that in any way. But you have got to do more than that. I have got to do more than leading by example. Just because I do things right, just because I or try to do things right, just because I try to lead by example and make good choices. If I don't hold people accountable, then it doesn't matter what I'm doing. They know they can get away with whatever they want because I am not holding them truly accountable. Sometimes you have to be the bad guy. I don't like being the bad guy. That's kind of been an inside joke with my wife and I. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's not because she has been on the wrong end of that over and over and over through the years. I have forced her to be the bad guy, forced her to be the bad guy, and not only the kids that she's biologically responsible for, but I put her in a spot that she has had to be the bad guy with kids that she's not even biologically tied to. Has she done it because she loves me and she loves those kids? Yes. But what kind of resentment has that built towards me for putting her in that spot? A lot. It has built a lot of resentment, and it is a scar that is going to take me a long time to fix. Because even when I do make changes right now where I am set, I know I can do it. I know it's going to be a fight. I know I'm going to fail some, but I'm going to keep going in that right direction. But when I fail, it's almost like a little bit of a trigger to her that makes her think, here it is. He says he's changing, but it's still happening. And so I, literally talked to her about this yesterday. I am just asking for patience, more patience than she's already given me. But I promise I am fighting and I will win. Little losses here and there will knock me back, but I will keep moving forward and I will get to the other end of this. I don't know what's on the other side. I don't have any idea, but I will tell you this. I know deep inside me that this is going to be a big part of my story. That's how big this is. It's going to be a big part of who I am, a big part of my message to share. So that makes it even more important to keep fighting through and make it to the other side, because I know it's going to help a lot of people, especially my family, especially my team at work. So really, that's all I got to say. I God pray to God that this thing records and it saves it properly, because I do not want to do this again. It zaps the energy from me. But one of the biggest things that one of the biggest feedback and compliments that I've had over the time that I've done the podcast is this type of conversation. They truly appreciate the real talk, the life experience, the mistakes, and the things that I've grown and learned through, and all that. And so that's what I want to give. I'm not saying I'm the only one that does it, but I'm the only one that can do it through my eyes, through my story. And so if I'm not doing it, that's a lot of things I've been through that are just they're getting wasted. I went through for nothing. So I need to share that. So hopefully won't be too long and I'll be back on with something else. I'm sure something else will hit me, or I'll just kind of come on and update you with this challenge and kind of see where we're at. But I know we've got some hard days coming, especially at home. We've got some consequences that I know I'm going to have to deal out that are going to be tough and are going to make me the villain far beyond any other time I've ever been a villain. But that's all right, because when you choose to break the rules, you choose to accept those consequences. And so we'll see how it goes. Thank you very much for spending some time with me today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. I hope that it touched you in some way, added some values in some way, just gave you something to think about, gave you a reason to keep fighting, gave you a reason to know that you aren't alone. And whatever path you're on, whatever challenge you're facing, it's worth the fight. And it's going to be great when you get to the other end of it. Keep going, keep fighting. And until next time, as always, stay humble and do work.